Hi guys, welcome back to another mini vid lecture. This one is for module number 1. The topic is Native Americans, and specifically the lecture video name is Migration Theory. First of all, thanks to all the people that have watched the videos and done their homework either on YouTube or by clicking on the media player. Hopefully these are being helpful to you, and at any time please come into class, give me suggestions, ask some questions, and let me know if they're useful for you. Again, heading back to the title of this module, this one's name is Migration Theory. It's another mini video on the development of Native Americans in North America. We've already talked about in previous lectures for this topic how civilizations develop from being nomadic to domestic to civilized. In this short mini video lecture today, we're just going to talk quickly about the different migration theories and the explanations on how people came to be in the United States. And so our objective today, if you'll follow along on the screen or in your notes, is the student will be able to explain the theories used to explain indigenous people and how they came to be in North America. And so our first job is to define a couple things. And the first couple things that we want to define is this word migration, the word theory, and the word indigenous. So if you have your note sheets available, let's do that now. First of all, the word migration, if you didn't know this already, means to move from place or one place to another. The word theory is our best guess on what happened based on evidence, our best guess, and this is usually based on evidence or artifacts. And then the word indigenous means first in a place. And so what this mini video is all about is trying to come up with our best guess on how people, the first people that were in North America, came to be here. And so to explain this, we have three different theories, and we're going to try and cover these as quickly as possible. The first theory is the land bridge theory. This is theory number 1. So if you want to write the title in on your note sheet for land bridge theory, that would be great. This theory states that the first people, or indigenous people, came to North America during the last ice age, which was about 10,000 years ago. Okay, large sheets at that time of ice stretched over parts of Canada into the northern United States, causing ocean levels to drop, exposing an area of land called Beringia. This is where you get the name land bridge from, because land was exposed and they used it as a bridge to cross from one continent to another. The reasons why some of these people were moving, and this relates back to our previous discussion on nomadic, domestic, civilized, was to meet their basic needs. They believed that the first Americans were hunters following the woolly mammoth and other animals over the land bridge into North America. This was not on purpose. They did not get up one morning and say, hey, I think we should go to North America to try and catch some animals. As the animals migrated unknowingly over the land bridge, so too did the first Americans. Now, over the course of thousands of years, these groups are going to expand and spread out into different parts of North and South America. And when they do that, what's going to happen is about 5,000 years ago, as the ice age ends, these groups are going to begin to adapt to their environment, hunt different animals, and more specifically, they're going to start to farm, which allows them to grow their population, allows them to stay in one place, and if you remember from the last video, become domesticated. This theory is most believed because scientists have the most evidence and artifacts to kind of put this theory together. The theories that are coming up in the future, somewhat believable, but not as much evidence. And so when we're looking at this from a scientific standpoint, we're talking about evidence, and this theory is the one that seems to have the most evidence. So if you take a look at the map quick before we move on to the next page, when we're talking about who, what, when, where, why, and how, what we're talking about is indigenous people, that's the who, coming from Asia up here, if you're looking at the map in the upper left-hand corner. They cross this thing called the land bridge, and then they're going to migrate down North America and spread out. And the reason that they're doing that is they're looking for food. Now, as groups of animals tend to go further south, these Native American groups go further south with them. Now, in future lectures, we're going to be talking about what those groups develop into, but in terms of explaining how the first people came to be here, land bridge theory is the most popular. Now, some of the other theories, just very quickly, are number 2, coastal route theory. And the way that this theory is different than migration theory is that it's believed that, according to this theory, instead of using the land to migrate here, they instead migrated along the coast, and they used boats to either navigate along the shores or to cross the Pacific Ocean. Now, if you look at the map down below, you'll see the 2 different migration patterns. One is along the coastline right here, stopping along the way to get to North America. The other theory believes that indigenous people did some island hopping through the Pacific and eventually made their way to South America all the way on the other side of the Pacific Ocean. Now, while there's few artifacts that kind of support this theory, there is some things in there that maybe will work in terms of the dates on the artifacts, but not enough evidence to win over the majority of scientists. There are some artifacts that were found down here in South America that are older than artifacts found up here in North America, but not enough to really gain support for their theory. And so coastal route theory, while being a good second option, is not the most believed. Is it possible that some indigenous people migrated this way? Absolutely. But the belief is that most of them came across on the land bridge. Now, the third and final creation theory, or theory on migration, is just that. It's called creation theory. And it's called this because it's more of a religious theory, while the other 2 are based more on science. If we scoot back, these 2 are based more on science. Creation theory is based more on religion. And so the artifacts are not going to be there as much. Now, most Native American groups have a creation story that explains their existence in North America. Each creation story may vary. Most of them are of oral tradition, so some of the details might get misconstrued. But for the most part, this is the one that has the least artifact evidence or tangible evidence to explain indigenous people here, but it is definitely still one explanation on how they came to be. And so, to revisit the objective for the day, the question is, or the objective is, the student will be able to explain the theories used to explain how indigenous people came to be in North America. And those 3 theories are land bridge, coastal route, and creation. The 3 ways that they do it: this is by land, this is by sea, and according to creation story, they were here and spread out. I'm giving you the short versions, okay? Now, part of your job is going to need to know all the details that go with these 3 for your test, so make sure that you get your notes filled in. And then the last thing that we have for you today is a quote that says, "One individual can begin a movement that turns the tide of history." What I want you to do is do your best to try and link that quote to your topic for today on migration theory. How could one individual or one indigenous person change the tide of history for North America? Mr. Gerstung here. Any questions, come in and see me. Feel free to watch this video as many times as you want. We'll see you in class. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good night. Bye.